we are finally getting a chance to drive the BMW Z4. This is the M40i, has the same powertrain and chassis as the Toyota Supra, 3-liter, inline 6, the B58 mated with an 8-speed automatic transmission. It makes 382 horsepower, and it is just one of my favorite convertibles I think I've ever driven. It's a fantastic car. Let's talk about why I love this thing so much. It's a little bit more expensive than the Supra, starting at $64,000. This one's spec'd up with a handful of options, up to about 73 grand. But in the modern BMW lineup, I think this is actually one of their better looking cars now. Got a decent amount of trunk space. Yeah, that looks good. Let's hop inside, we'll start it up, we'll take it for a drive, and we'll talk about my week in the Z4 M40i. And the best part about this car is that you can experience and hear that B58 with the top down. All right, so a pretty standard BMW interior here. We have the older iDrive 7, which for the most part is a lot simpler and easier to use of a system than the new iDrive 8. I like the physical controls. You get climate. That's nice. The only problem I've had with it this week is CarPlay has just not wanted to connect. Bluetooth actually hasn't been working. Last week, Substitute TheTopher had this car and it worked fine. So I don't really know what the problem is. We do get wireless charging, a USB port, and a cigarette lighter port. Little center console here with a couple of cup holders and a USB-C charger. That's nice. Here's your parking brake, and then here is your button to fold down the cloth top. You can do this at speeds of up to 30 miles per hour, which is pretty neat. Folds down pretty quickly too. M colors here on the seat, contrast blue stitching. And in sport mode, this exhaust actually sounds pretty spicy. We have Michelin Pilot Super Sport tires, 255/35 R19s in the front, and in the rear, 275/35 R19s. A lot of grip out of these Super Sports. They're not as loud as the new PS4S's. Look at the font, look at the badging for the Z4, that looks so cool. And this purple, Thunder Night Metallic, great color. Looks awesome in every light, really accentuates the lines and just reflects beautifully on the Z4. Let's pop the hood. Cool. There's the legendary B58. Again, 382 horsepower, very fast. A lot of performance from this engine, and surprisingly efficient, getting about 37 miles to the gallon on the highway. It's rated for 23 in the city, 31 on the highway, but you will easily exceed those numbers. This engine is just incredibly efficient for the performance that it has. Look at this hood. This is a really huge piece. I like how it's integrated into the fender here. Kind of similar to the Supra in that respect. BMW has just done an amazing job with this chassis. It's a little bit softer than the Supra, but there are very few concessions here. And if anything, it feels a little bit more spacious inside, not as tight and cave-like. It's a very stiff car, a little bit heavier, about 3,500 pounds. There's not really a whole lot to go over in this walk around. It's a pretty basic vehicle. Let's go for a drive. Might as well start with the top down, and we'll start off in sport mode. Button in and push forward to put it in reverse. There's your reverse camera. No forward-facing camera, but we do get front parking sensors that give us a pretty good, accurate depiction of where the curb is. You can see there, it's approaching. There we go. That's worked for me this week. Visibility is excellent. few different transmission modes: drive, push the shifter over to the left for sport, and then you can also engage manual. And you can hear in sport mode we get some really nice burbles on the overrun. And it's quick. 0 to 60 in about 3.5 seconds. The 8-speed automatic is the only transmission option. Thought BMW might throw a manual in this since Toyota has a manual in the Supra now, but don't know if they're selling enough of these Z4s to justify it. And honestly, this 8-speed suits this car just perfectly. This car is so nice to drive, so refined, so comfortable. It sounds amazing. The performance is fantastic. There isn't really a lot that I don't like about this. Amazing performance here from this B58. This inline 6 costs a little bit more money than the turbo 4-cylinder, but I think it's worth it just for that sound. A little bit of wind buffeting at speed, but seems about average for any convertible these days. On a night like tonight, this is just a wonderful driving experience. We'll pull off the highway here in a minute and test this with a top up. It's actually pretty quiet. We get regular cruise control. Adaptive cruise is an option. Speed limiter. Lane keeping assist, though I have that turned off. While we're here, might as well put the top up. As you can see, again, it takes no time. And I like the little bong to confirm that it's gone up. Much like the Toyota Supra, our gauge cluster brightness is a little bit wonky. It never quite knows what brightness level to be at. Bit of a fluke and weird feature with these cars. Let's see how this handles. Sport mode. Pretty neutral chassis. We also get an M Sport differential. A little bit of safe understeer. There's a lot of mechanical grip, but it is a beautifully balanced chassis. Definitely not as sporty or grippy or hardcore feeling as the Supra, but a really nice balance. For a street car, this is just fantastic. Guy's got his foot sticking out the window. We'll stay upwind of that. Cruising on the highway, comfort mode, exhaust quiets down, 2,000 RPM. Even as an Eco Pro mode, really dulls the throttle and makes this hyper efficient. But mostly this week I've been driving in sport and comfort. If the burbles get to be a little bit too much for you, throw it into comfort mode, put the transmission in sport, and hear natural sounds from this turbo 6-cylinder. Ride's pretty nice. Suspension is well damped. Stiffens up a little bit in sport mode, but not too harsh. Again, I've been daily driving this in sport mode pretty regularly, and it's a nice balance. A few little creaks in this chassis, little dashboard squeaks here and there. Something from up there, something from behind the seat, but that's to be expected with a convertible. Change a bit when the top goes up, when the top goes down. I think the thing I like most about this car is that it's just so easy to drive and to live with. Put the top down again here. It's also fun using the shifter down here, back to upshift, forward to downshift, just like it should be. I really, really like this car. I kind of prefer this to the Supra, to be honest. BMW, I think, handed this chassis to Toyota on a platter. It is just so well sorted. It's very athletic, it's very fun to drive, and it's nice to live with. It's comfortable, it has that perfect balance of sportiness and livability. It's not as hardcore as an M car, but it feels like it has M car performance. It's a pretty special car, and I just don't see enough of them on the road. It's kind of a shame. Beautiful interior. It doesn't feel dated. This is kind of peak BMW interior. Aside from the CarPlay connectivity bugs and the fact that this does not support Android Auto, a really, really nice car. I would consider getting one of these someday. I think something like this would be a pretty decent daily, but just kind of the perfect weekend toy or road trip car. It's so fuel efficient on the highway that you could just do really, really good distances in this car on a tank. It's got a good sized trunk for bags. I mean, yeah, a little expensive in this spec at 75 grand or 73 grand, but still. Factor in the performance, or even a Z4 M40i without any options, and this is probably one of the better convertible buys on the market. It's interesting because the short wheelbase of this car it's almost like it picks up where the M2 of the previous gen left off. It has that kind of happy nature under power, and this surge of torque when you get into it. There's nothing like a second gear pull in this car. It is very, very fast. The new M2 is a bit more buttoned down. I don't know, this kind of has a little bit of an older BMW flavor, which I like. And these seats are very comfortable. There's some definitely harder pieces where your legs rest, but I haven't felt too fatigued with them this week. Lots of adjustability with your driving position, steering wheel tilts and telescopes. Tons of adjustment there. Would I want a manual? Maybe. I know what the manual transmission with this powertrain feels like, and it's good. It's not great. And if you're okay with an automatic, this 8-speed ZF 8-speed is it's fantastic. Amazing balance. The real world performance here really can't be far off from the Supra, and you get to enjoy it all with the roof down. We're leaving it up a little bit today. I've been driving this non-stop with the roof down all week, but we're leaving it up just for audio reasons for the video, but it's such a great convertible. Alright, well, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. If you're still here, appreciate you guys sticking around. Top marks for the Z4 M40i. I could see myself and the wife picking one of these up in a few years once they've kind of come down a little bit. Second or third ownership. This would be a great buy. And so far, these B58s, this powertrain, this generation of BMW has proven to be very reliable. So might be a pretty good buy, brand new or second hand. Yeah. go find one before they discontinue it, because this is definitely one of the great generations of Z4. Everything is just so well dialed in. Both Substitute Topher and I have absolutely loved our time in this car. So he put a ton of miles on it. I think he drove to Chicago and back or something. He really drove this car a lot. Got an amazing fuel economy. I've been hustling around in this all week long and only burned half a tank. Yeah. I think one of the few cars that BMW can proudly say ultimate driving machine on the Monroney, on the window sticker, and it's actually true. Okay, one more highway exit ramp. So poised around a corner, compliant, it just kind of leans in and just grips. I love it. I absolutely love it. Is there launch control? Probably. Stay under 30. And you know what? Unlike the Supra, you can drive at 45 miles an hour and higher without any wind buffeting. How beautiful is that? See if we can do a quick launch control here. Oh yeah, it really drags shifts. Nice. That's properly quick. Turn off head-up display. It works. That's what's addictive.